Story 1. I'm Jake, and maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but this started just after my roommate, let's call him Eric, moved in. I can't tell if I'm skipping around, or this is how it really got weird, but I remember the dripping first. We'd moved into this beat-up rural motel room that rents nightly, kind of like a bunk for long-term stay, though no one really stays long. I took the bottom bunk, Eric took the top. Perfect roommate arrangement, right? Except sometimes I'd hear taps. Not from the sink, from above. At first I thought he was dropping toothpaste, maybe brushing his teeth at 3 in the morning. Except I wasn't sure he even brushed his teeth. I know this sounds crazy, but I woke up to see red droplets falling onto my pillow. Not blood, body-soaking pillow, more like little beads, like someone tapped a pen in wet ink. I thought, maybe it's the ceiling leaking? But the ceiling was concrete, the bathroom in the corner. So I told myself I was imagining it. Except it happened again and again. The weirdest bit is I'd check on Eric. He'd be fully asleep. Mouth hanging, snoring, soft and low. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But I swear one night, I reached up to touch the drop and pulled back with sticky, black-red snot between my fingers. Half-dried, half-fresh. I didn't scream. I tossed it off the side of the bed, tried not to vomit. I thought, I'm losing my mind. But that's not all. I started noticing things missing. My boxers, my clean socks, little things. I always culled scraps from the trash. I'd wake and there'd be underwear missing from my laundry basket, or wadded into a corner of the room. And sometimes I swear I saw movement, like a shadow under the top bunk, or a foot sliding out from under. Then one morning, I woke to a trickle of dark red running down my leg. I thought, I'm cut? But I wasn't. It was blood, someone else's, and there on the floor, scuffed against the tile, were footprints. Not mine. Eric had thick-soled boots. These were bare, wet, leading toward the bathroom. I stumbled after them. The bathroom door was cracked. I pushed it, and I'm not proud of what I did, just pushed. Inside, the sink was red-stained, water bubbling pink, like the hot water mixer glitched into gore. No cuts on me, but clinging to the rim of the sink was a shirt. My shirt, folded neatly, soaked. I remember thinking he wouldn't do that on purpose. When I looked up, Eric was standing in the mirror behind me, expression flat. T-shirt pulled up to his elbows. His arms looked clean. I asked, Eric, what's going on? His voice low, he said, You're dreaming, bro. Go back to sleep. I didn't. I ran out and crashed in the car, nearly locked myself in there for an hour before I cooled off. Over the next few days, I tried to piece it together. I checked under the bed, inside drawers. I didn't find anything except one thing. In the trash. Underneath. 3 minutes. Under old coffee grounds and rotting sandwich crusts, there was a small vial, stained with congealed red liquid. I couldn't place it. My hands shook. I dropped it. The lid cracked. Some of the fluid oozed out, and I realized this wasn't blood. It couldn't be. It smelled like burned metal mixed with copper, acid. Then I realized, those drips, the red cloth, the sink, maybe it was chemical. I remembered the back room where they stored cleaners. They kept a bottle of my memory's blurry. I found the label, industrial degreaser. It's acid. Maybe I spilled it upstairs. Maybe I knocked the bottle. But why was my stuff stained? Why the footprints? And why did Eric seem so calm the night I decided to leave? I packed a bag, heart racing, vials in hand. I opened the door, and he was there, in the hall, light flickering above his head. He just tilted his head, droplet of sweat, or maybe that acid drip on his jaw. Eyes calm, like he was waiting. I swallowed, didn't say anything. I grabbed my bag and bolted. I moved out that night. Motel management never asked questions. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I dreamed again last night. That drip. And I think, if Eric ever moves in with someone else, they'll wonder. I don't know what the truth was, but I know I'm still in my nightmares, because wherever those drips came from, they might come back. Story 2. I'm Ryan, and maybe I'm remembering bits wrong, but this came down to the slow disappearance of stuff, even things I didn't think I'd miss until it was gone. So I had this roommate, Marcus, who showed up one night like a guest, and then that guest morphed into permanent. He didn't pay rent, just said he'd chip in. But the pinched smile and dusty jacket said he'd never actually do that. I was working night shifts at this deserted roadside diner just outside town, the kind of place with a light buzzes even at 2 a.m. One person asleep in the booths, a hum under everything. I thought, fine, I'll go for it. Bestie needs a place. Then the groceries started vanishing. I know this sounds crazy, but at first, I thought I was losing my mind. My instant noodles, gone. Not 3, 4 packs. My leftover pizza, just the crust in the fridge looked suspicious. I'd ask Marcus, and he'd shrug, acting like he didn't understand, voice low. You sure you didn't eat that already? Maybe I am remembering it wrong, but I watched him nibble at my food, like he was curious how I'd seasoned it. I started stashing things. Cheese blocks, mayo, even that fancy jam that was a gift. I shoved stuff behind cereal boxes, behind cleaning supplies. I didn't tell anyone. I'd come home late, tired, and half the stash would be gone. Just empty space, wrapper peeking out like a ghost of a sandwich. I'd curse under my breath. Seriously. Then came the blood. Again, I don't even know. Maybe I'm mixing memories. But one night I come home, flick on the kitchen light, and there's this smear. Ash brown red on the counter. Not bright red, but thick, like dried gravy mixed with something darker. My heart thudded. I touched it, sticky, dull, scraped it with my finger, and tasted ash. Not blood, maybe, but still made me taste like copper. I shoved it aside and pretended I didn't see it. I didn't bring it up to Marcus. I couldn't. I wasn't sure. He was always there, quiet in the corner, scrolling on his phone in the living room. he never slept in the kitchen. I checked the bathroom floor. Nothing. No puddles. No drips. I kept thinking, did I dream it? But then one morning, I woke and my roommate was gone, but the dull red was streaked across the bathroom mirror. Half-faded letters scrawled, meant to say help or run or something, but I couldn't fully see. Just 3 sick-shaped scratches. I pressed my palm to the glass, thought I'd cut myself, but my skin was fine, clean. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but the mirror stayed like that for hours before I wiped it off. I confronted him. I slammed into the living room at 6 a.m., face raw-edged. His head jerked up, those eyes blank until they blinked. The mirror's smear was on his face now, just under the jaw, like he'd streaked it there on purpose. Blood, paint, I swear I can't say. He yanked his hand off, looked sick, and said, "You're paranoid, man. You probably did it." And walked off. I didn't argue. I didn't trust my memory. I spent a day just cleaning, washing everything with bleach, tossing scraps, staring at empty wrappers. And then I found it in the trash. My phone, guts out, cracked screen, spattered with that dull brown smear. Alongside it, a piece of cloth, my shirt cuff, torn, shredded. How'd that get there? I pressed it, and something wet fell onto the trash bag. Dried snot, thick like glucose, reeking of metal. And I'm not telling anyone. I knew I couldn't. I buried it under old receipts, took everything to the curb. I felt dizzy. I scrambled to remember how my shirt looked that morning. I'd left it on a hook. Now it was missing armhole, stained. So I packed up what little clean laundry I had and just left. I stayed in the diner all night, watching neon buzz on rain-slicked asphalt, realizing I was ripped from something I didn't fully understand. I thought, I can't live there anymore. When I came back, the room was spotless, empty. No note, no Marcus. I found my shirt folded on the bed, cleaned. How the fuck did that happen? And then the final detail. Taped in the corner of the room, small, like a child's sketch, was a crimson handprint. Smudged, messy, 2 fingers extended, one pointed, like an invitation or a warning. I left right then. No resolution, no chase. I didn't ask. I just packed the rest of my stuff, left the handprint. I'm telling you this, even as I'm telling myself I'm overreacting. But I know details get fuzzy. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But whatever happened, someone cleaned it up and taped that handprint there. I sleep with the lights on now. I check my groceries twice, and I swear, every time I see a stranger in the corner, I feel that smear under my palm. I can't stop thinking, did he ever leave? Story 3. I'm Dylan, and maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but it started with whispers, like someone talking without opening their mouth. I'd just moved into this old college dorm near the edge of town, the kind with peeling paint and corridors that never see sunlight. My roommate Blair was a tiny person, quiet, kept to herself, except for the stuff she said when she thought I wasn't listening. It was late one night, 2 a.m., and I'm lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, half asleep. I hear that whisper, soft, not in my ear, but in the corner of the room. I sat up, heart dull thudding. Blair's gone, just the steady hum of the hallway light. I rubbed my eyes, thought I was half dreaming. But then I heard it again, like someone stitched their mouth shut, but the voice leaked out. I leaned toward the wall, leaned too close, and there, a shadow flickered in the gap of her closet door. I froze. No, I didn't say I froze. I just held still, breathing too loud, counting breaths until I convinced myself it was just the building settling. It wasn't. Next day, I asked her casually, "You ever hear stuff at night?" She laughed, quiet-like, and said she always heard things in this old place. "It's just old pipes," she said. But I'm not convinced, not fully. A few nights later, I wake up to scraping, like nails across wood, coming from her side of the room. I whisper, "Blair?" No answer, just the scraping. I swung my legs out of bed, heart pumping. The floorboards lead to her closet. I paused, then I yanked open the door, fast, and slammed it shut before I looked inside. I just closed it. Didn't look. Too much. That day I tried to rationalize. Mold in the walls, rodents gnawing pipes. Maybe I'm on too many energy drinks. But every night, that whisper came back. Sometimes it said, "Help," muffled, breathless. Other times, "Stay." And I swear, those nights I'd wake sweating, convinced the voice was floating right above me. One afternoon, I heard her humming, low and tuneless, while cleaning. I thought it was normal, until she paused by my desk and whispered right in my ear, "Beautiful." I jerked, spat half a cup of coffee, and she smiled like nothing was off. I couldn't find the words, so I didn't say anything. Then comes the blood. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but one night, I'm chopping garlic in the kitchenette, those plastic-looking ones you get in the dorm, and I see streaks on the cutting board. Rust brown, fresh. But I didn't cut myself. My hands are clean. I stare, heart going numb. I pick up a finger, press the smear. It's tacky, like dried tomato, with something metallic. I gag, scrubbing it off with dish soap. I didn't mention it. I wanted to, but my voice stuck. Later, I see her in the hallway, shirt flavored red under the sleeve, like blood pooled there. She looked calm, like it didn't matter. I hurried past her room, stomach twisting, words bubbling. That night, I wake up to her laughing, soft, just behind my bed, like someone's lips moving, but nothing comes out. I sit up, breath shaky, and I see her silhouette, curled up under the bed. No face, just a shape, whispering. I whispered, "Blair?" She didn't answer. I shoved at whatever it was, kicked at it. It whispered harder, louder, broken syllables. I scrambled out of bed, dashed into the hallway, didn't look back. Morning, She's at her desk, writing. Nothing says happened, but there's a smear on her elbow again, sloppy, reddish-brown, as if she pressed her arm into a cut. She looked at me, said, "You look terrible," and went back to writing. I stayed in the hallway for an hour before I snuck back. The mattress on her side was gone, the bed's frame empty, just mattress slats. But the mattress was down the hall, half wedged in the communal area. Covered in that same smear, I nearly puked. I ran to my room, heart vibrating. Next day, I'm packing a bag. I can't stay. I'm shaking as I write this. I'm not even sure what's real, but she's gone, moved out, broke lease. She left behind that cutting board, cracked with smeary stains, and I grabbed it. I keep looking at it now, while I tell you this. I can't stop thinking I hear that whisper beneath it. I still wake to laughter, to scraping, to her silhouette under my bed. Even when the room's empty, I can't decide if she stayed or if the dorm kept her. I just know one day I'll wake to that whisper again, soft in the dark, and I'll be right back where I started, unsure, unsteady, her voice a heartbeat away.